I would mess around with my stop losses. When prices look like they're going to fall below my stop losses, I'd move it lower and move it lower and move it lower. And guess what? I took a couple of positions all the way to zero, and that's pretty hard to do. The question Anil posed was, what one thing can you do now that would improve your trading performance? Yeah, did I get that right, Anil? Did I get the,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
question right?
that's right.
I'm going to approach this question from a slightly different angle. So rather than looking at just one thing or what one thing could I do to improve, I'm basically identifying these are the hurdles that may keep you from improving. And so the very first one is one, most people fail at trading because they let FOMO drive their decisions. That's fear of missing out. This leads them to jump on the bandwagon when they probably shouldn't. Then when you get to thinking of complexity equals sophistication, in reality, we know that there's a sophistication about simplicity in our decision making. So the next one is most people fail at trading because they overcomplicate their strategies. And talking about emotion, the next one is most people fail at trading because they underestimate the importance of discipline. Let's face it, in the modern world today, discipline is in short supply. The thing I applaud so many of the traders, especially the traders in the autopilot trading service, is man, they're demonstrating that they are, in fact, disciplined about what they're doing and they want to be disciplined. And then sometimes a lack of focus. Focusing solely on the profits and all that kind of stuff is not the protective measure that safeguards your capitals. And so most people fail at trading because they neglect risk management. And the simplest risk management out there, Anil, that I know of, if people would just be religious about utilizing their stop losses and you don't change them, use that stop loss and just let it happen. It protects your capital and gives you ability to come back and trade again. I know in my own story, it was the lack of using stop losses, or I would mess around with my stop losses when prices look like they're going to fall below my stop losses. I'd move it lower and move it lower and move it lower. And guess what? I took a couple of positions all the way to zero, and that's pretty hard to do. And then the major thing about why most people fail at trading is, in my opinion, most people fail at trading because they won't follow a proven path to success. They immediately jump in. They prefer relying on untested methods or the blowing of the winds to and forth rather than an established systematic approach. In other words, they won't do what it takes to be successful because of lack of discipline. So, of everything with Neil and I've been talking about, is there one of them that appeals to you? Or what one thing will you do this week to improve your performance? Go ahead and just throw that into the chat box. I'd really appreciate it. What did you think about those 5 items, Neil? Do they resonate? I bet you've seen a lot of people in your groups who you associate with that's trying to trade, but they're stuck in one of these boxes.
Yeah, I find that over and over, and it's the way it is. And the other way to look at it, they say 80% is based on psychology, 20% is the method, and
Yep.
method can be perfected. Psychology, each one of us got to work on ourselves.
That's right, without
Yeah.
a doubt. Before we get to the trading tips for today, all the things that Anil was mentioning, I was mentioning, are things that you need to capture and get into your journal. And so we've got a really great journal. It's the Autopilot Trading Journal. You can pick it up on the Amazon, and I will put that link in the description. So now, trading tips. Have you ever wondered if there is a perfect moment to exit a trade, a moment that could maximize your gains and minimize your losses? And the answer to that is maybe. And I mean that sincerely. because all exits and actually entries are all compromises, but they can be planned compromises. So connecting back to today's essential question, what is the one thing you can do more of to improve your trading? And part of the answer also lies in the art of how you're going to exit. Mastering this will help set you up to make you a more solid trader, truly a masterful trader. The first thing you can do is sell a portion on strength, sell on a shift of the momentum, weekly momentum down, sell based on your plan. In other words, if you carry a 7.5 or a 12.5% trailing stop, that's part of your plan. If you carry a 5 to 6 as your max stop loss, that's your plan. And then finally sell on based on time stops. If a stock hasn't moved that I bought, hasn't moved to the upside within 2 weeks, max 3 weeks from the time I purchased it and hasn't triggered my stop loss, I get the heck out of there. We've done that this week with our AutoPilot trading members of jumping out when, we had only gone up just a couple of percentage points and all that kind of stuff within 3 weeks, hit 21 days and said, "Hey, we're out of here." And that was especially after the market started to sell off yesterday. So we jumped out of that one. And let me tell you, Neil, when you sell out of a position that you've been waiting for it to move up, there's actually a relief that, okay, gosh, finally it's over, right? Folks, we want to help you keep it simple, stay focused, and remember, you've got this. Remember, folks, that all materials presented are for training purposes. Traders should always pay per trade any new method prior to the risk of their own personal capital. Past performance is not an indication or promise of future performance.